Most of us journey through life donning masks, crafted not from fabric, but from fears, expectations, and the longing to belong. We suppress our truths to fit in, dim our dreams to feel safe, and then wonder why everything feels hollow. But here's the truth. You're not lost. You've just never been introduced to the version of yourself that exists beneath the noise, the one waiting patiently for you to notice. Every time you sidestep discomfort, you bury that authentic self a little deeper. You scroll past your potential, laugh when you yearn to speak, settle when you were meant to soar. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." So ask yourself, what have you been settling for? The chasm between the life you tolerate and the one you're destined for is just one decision wide. If something within you resonates with this, if it stirs something deeper than words, then you're in the right place. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notification, and let's embark on this journey together. There's a moment that sneaks up on all of us. Quiet, unassuming, where we realize we've been living in between. One foot chasing potential, the other anchored in comfort. It masquerades as balance, as being practical or polite. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't do both. You can't cling to safety and expect to fly. You can't numb discomfort and still seek clarity. Life doesn't reward half measures. It's a game of trade-offs. Every decision you make is a door you walk through, and by choosing one, you close another. Saying yes to comfort means saying no to growth. Saying yes to distraction means rejecting focus. Scrolling endlessly isn't harmless. It's a choice to postpone your own progress. You don't get to become your best self while clinging to habits that keep you average. We'll overcommit to plans that don't matter, just to avoid the silence that might reveal truths we're not ready to face. But avoidance doesn't erase the truth. It amplifies the pain of stagnation over time. Aristotle believed that excellence isn't an act, but a habit. Something we become by consistently choosing what aligns with our values. That means we don't just wake up one day in alignment, we build it, choice by choice. Every time we choose ease over effort, noise over stillness, comfort over courage, we're making a very real decision. We're not floating, we're drifting, either toward our potential or away from it. So here's the hard line. You can either be who they want you to be, or you can be who you truly are. But you can't be both. You can't chase validation and authenticity simultaneously. One will always betray the other. If you're constantly molding yourself to fit someone else's expectations, you're slowly forgetting the shape of your own soul. Plato warned, the price of apathy toward public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Let's personalize that. The price of apathy toward your own life is to be ruled by distraction, by fear, by everything external to frisson. And that's not just unfortunate, it's tragic, because the alternative is right in front of you, conscious, deliberate choice. Choosing presence over avoidance, choosing the hard thing that builds you instead of the easy thing that drains you. So what's it going to be? You don't have to answer right now, but know this. From this moment forward, every single decision, what you say yes to, what you ignore, what you tolerate, is either building the person you want to become or pulling you further away from them. There is no neutral. The people who thrive in this life, who lead with clarity, who sleep with peace, they made the hard choice to stop living in the in-between. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So if your mind is filled with noise, avoidance, and indecision, your life will reflect exactly that. But if your thoughts are rooted in purpose, direction, and courage, even the smallest actions will start to feel like momentum. The world isn't asking you to be perfect. It's just asking you to choose. There's a lie we often tell ourselves, subtle, convincing, and incredibly dangerous. It whispers, "Wait until you're ready," as if one day you'll wake up fearless, fully equipped, and entirely sure of yourself. But that day doesn't come. Not the way you think it will. Because readiness isn't a feeling, It's a choice, and most of the time you'll have to leap before it ever shows up. People confuse courage with confidence, but they're not the same. Confidence is the reward you earn after doing the hard thing. Courage is what shows up in the silence when your voice shakes, your heart races, and your brain screams. Don't do it. It's saying yes anyway. It's walking toward the fear, not because you're fearless, but because you've decided not to let fear decide for you anymore. Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists," and he was right. The more you avoid the thing, the louder it becomes. The fear doesn't shrink, it just burrows in deeper. So that dream you keep putting off, that conversation you've been dodging, that version of yourself you're afraid to meet, every delay gives the fear more room to grow. We don't grow when we're comfortable, and we certainly don't grow when we're certain. Plato once wrote that courage is knowing what not to fear. But in today's world, we fear everything that isn't guaranteed. We fear failure, judgment, rejection. So we wait. We tell ourselves we need more time, more money, more training, more clarity. But deep down, we know the truth. What we really need is less fear and more movement. Think about that young boy standing on stage, hands trembling, voice cracking, reading his poetry for the first time. You think he was ready? No way. But he did it anyway, not because he felt bulletproof, but because something inside him finally said, enough. Enough hiding. Enough waiting. Enough letting fear dictate the script. That's courage. Socrates once said, "Let him who would move the world first move himself." But most of us are waiting for the world to give us a sign, to roll out a red carpet and say, "Now you may begin." That's not how life works. If anything, life waits for you to move first, to take the uncomfortable step, to raise your hand, to speak your truth. And once you do, that's when the shift begins. Look, stumbling is part of the process. There's no clean start, no perfect launch. You'll probably screw it up. You'll look awkward. You'll doubt yourself. But you'll also learn. You'll build muscle, the kind that only comes from action. The Stoics taught that virtue is action, not thoughts, not feelings, action. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." So ask yourself, what have you been putting off? Not because you can't, but because you think you're not ready. And what if readiness isn't even real? What if it's just fear wearing a mask that looks like logic? The truth is, everyone you admire, the ones who made something meaningful, who stepped into their purpose, they started scared too. The difference is, they didn't wait. They didn't ask for certainty. They just moved. So maybe today is the day you do the same. No dramatic transformation, no perfect moment, just one shaky step forward. And that's all it ever takes to begin. There's something strangely seductive about being normal. It offers safety, predictability, the illusion that you're doing things the right way, simply because others are doing them too. But here's the problem. Normal doesn't get you anywhere you actually want to be. It keeps you in a loop, quiet, familiar, and painfully forgettable. You weren't built for that. Deep down, you know it. That quiet discomfort you feel when you're stuck in routine, when your goals become wallpaper in your mind, that's your soul pushing against the weight of mediocrity. Let's be clear. Normal is easy. It's showing up late and leaving early. It's waiting for the weekend to feel alive. It's numbing out on your phone while your purpose collects dust. It's telling yourself one day when you know damn well the clock is ticking. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That question should haunt you a little because you know the truth. You've been giving normal effort and hoping for exceptional results. And that equation has never worked. Aristotle believed that excellence is never an accident. It's a result of deliberate choices, elevated intention, and relentless action. That means you don't stumble into greatness. You choose it. You carve it out of the hours you'd rather waste. You build it by doing the things most people avoid, the hard, unsexy things that create depth and discipline. Let's talk psychology for a second. Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But how can you become that person if you keep mirroring the habits, fears, and distractions of everyone around you? We think we're making safe decisions, but really, we're just outsourcing our identity to the crowd. And the crowd is exhausted, distracted, unfulfilled. That's the normal you're measuring yourself against. Look around. Normal is burnt out. Normal is overwhelmed. Normal is saying I'm fine while slowly eroding inside. So why are we still aiming for it? Why are we still afraid to be different when difference is exactly what progress requires? Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." If you haven't paused lately to ask yourself if the life you're building actually reflects who you want to be, you're not living, you're drifting. Drifting with the current of culture, drifting toward comfort, drifting toward average. And I'll be honest, average is overcrowded. Everyone's there. That's why it feels safe. But it's not safe. It's just familiar. There's a difference. Now, I'm not saying go full throttle in every area of life. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. What I'm saying is, always push to your limit.